Happy Halloween, everyone. Hello. Got my best little prayer hands happening right now. So, happy Halloween. It's going to be a beautiful day. This is my all-time favorite holiday. You couldn't tell by my mantle. Use my hands to show you. Oh, my hand got caught. Anyway, so welcome to your spooky Halloween practice this morning. We're going to have a lot of fun. Hopefully, there's going to be a lot of laughs that happen. Just all the best Halloween puns are going to come out, and I'm going to be shameless about it. And we're just going to have a lot of fun. That being said, we are still going to move and breathe, connect, reset, all of those good things. But this practice is definitely quintessential yoga and beer, just doing what feels good, taking ourselves a little less serious. I'm going to retire my hands now. But I was getting distracted by my own little hands. But yeah, so we're just going to have a lot of fun, move our bodies and get ready for the spooky day ahead. We have a beautiful full moon tonight as well. So it's like perfect Halloween. All right, well, we are going to get started like the dead. We are going to come into our sarcophagi and we're going to lay down onto our backs. In the body, the legs can be out long, they can be bent. Your choice on how you want to hang out in your crypt for the moment. Let's start to find our breath. Maybe you're inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Maybe the eyes are open, or maybe they're closed. And with each deep, intentional inhale and exhale, can you start to find some space within the body and within the mind, the space to reconnect with yourself, to reset from the week, but also a space to invite a little bit of fun, actually a lot of bit of fun. We're in the thick of very serious times and spaces and places. And I think sometimes we forget to just shamelessly laugh at ourselves and have a good time, to be a little silly. And so that's my intention for our practice this morning, not only to kick off Halloween, right? But to create space where we can just have some fun, we can laugh, and all of the heavy things can just disappear for the day. They can be like cute little ghosts and disappear. So if that resonates with you, I invite you to solidify that intention within your practice, within your breath, or if there's something else that you needed from your practice, just take a moment to let that sink in. And let's inhale the hands up towards the sky and then toward the back of the mat. And we're going to move our legs over to the left-hand side of the mat. And then maybe the top body follows. We're finding a nice little banana shape here. But can you get long through the fingertips and toe tips? Almost like somebody has you on a banana-shaped stretching torture device. Here we go, guys. Get ready for all these great things. But that you're being actively pulled through the fingertips and the toe tips, creating more space within that right side of the body. And we'll come back to the center. And we'll bring the legs to the right side of the mat. The hips are rooted down toward the earth. And then body over, top body over to the right-hand side of the mat. The shoulders are melting down toward the earth as well. And maybe you have to move your cauldron out of the way. And we'll come back to the center and nice long stretch through the body. And maybe you point and flex the feet. Maybe you roll the ankles around. And we're going to come to dead bug pose. So we'll bring the feet up toward the sky and the hands toward the sky as well. Allowing the feet to just rest up in the air above the hips, and the hands and arms are above the shoulders. So you're feeling really solid and heavy in the hips and the shoulders. And feel free to, again, wake up the feet and the wrists, and the hands and the ankles. And if you are loving life here, I invite you to stay here. Or we're going to also wake up our brain, because we're going to lower the left foot down toward the earth. Just tap the heel down, and the right hand is going to tap the earth behind you. Then we'll bring it back up. And then left heel goes down. Oh, sorry, right heel goes down. Left hand goes back. See, waking up the brain, doing opposites. Just follow your breath here. One breath to lower, one breath to lift. And one more time, each side. And let's hug the knees in, rocking a little side to side. And we'll bring the feet down onto the earth. We're going to practice our best Michael Myers roll up. So if you've seen Halloween, you know that every time he gets knocked down, he gets right back up again. The most creepy way, he just sits right up. So we're going to get our core ready to find our best Michael Myers. So we're going to reach the hands toward the back of the room. And with your next exhale, we'll bring the shoulders and the head off of the earth, reaching the hands forward. And we'll lower back down. Hands come back. And exhale, rolling up. And then we'll come back down. So feel free to continue just like this. You can do the legs out nice and long. Or if you want to start trying to come all the way up, you can, it's Saturday morning, you can hold onto your legs to come up and then reach up and then roll back down. 2 more times, whether you're doing that small roll up or you're doing the Michael Myers all the way up. And wherever you're at, we are going to meet in a comfortable seat. So legs can be crossed, they can be out in front of you, whatever works best. Have you bring your hands onto your knees. Spine is stacked nice and tall. And we're going to do that creepy head turn that like almost all villains and all horror movies do. So just dead face, and we're going to turn the head toward the right. And we'll come back to the center and over to the left and back to the center. One more time. And we'll shrug the shoulders up, back, and down, creating a little space and movement in the shoulders, but also reminding us that the shoulders don't need to be best friends with our ears. And let's reverse the shoulder shrugs. So forward, down, and then back, up, forward, down, back. And one more time. And we're going to bring the hands to the heart. We're going to lift the heart up toward the hands. We're going to start to lean back, finding our cute boat pose. So we're now taking a cute boat on the Black Lagoon. We might see the creature from the Black Lagoon. Maybe you row a little bit here and there. Then remember which leg was in front, because we're going to put the opposite leg in front now. It's typically the one that makes you feel the weirdest. Let's inhale, reach the hands up to the sky. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, we'll reach. Exhale, hands to the heart. We're going to drop the chin down toward the chest, still keeping the spine nice and long. We'll roll the right ear over toward the right shoulder. And make sure you're dropping that shoulder down. And maybe you start to walk your left hand away from the body, just like Thing from the Addams Family. And then you'll walk your Thing hand back in and bring chin to chest. And left ear to left shoulder. And maybe the right hand starts to make that journey away from the body. You can walk the hand back in toward the body, chin to chest, and reach the crown of the head up toward the sky, finding that long line of energy from the bottom of the spine all the way through the crown of the head. Let's take a deep breath in together and exhale. A nice long breath out. All right, let's come over to table, hands and knees. The knees are right below the hips and the hands are right below the shoulders, a nice strong table back. On your inhale, let's drop the belly, send the heart forward, coming into cow pose. Exhale, we're going to round the spine into Halloween black cat. And let's follow the breath here as we move through cat cow. Flowing through this one more time. And let's find that strong table back, halfway between cat and cow, where the belly is pulled in, but the heart is reaching forward. We're going to take the right foot and send it toward the back of the mat. We'll keep the toes on the earth, actually pressing out through that heel. And check back in with your table. Make sure it didn't become a sunken table, but a nice, strong, solid table. Feel free to stay here, or we're going to come onto the inner edge of that right foot, come onto the left hand, coming into a modified side plank. So feeling really broad and open in your wingspan, making sure you're not dumping into that bottom shoulder, but you're actively pressing the earth away. And maybe you start to float that right leg. And foot will come down. You'll square the hips as you bring the right hand down. We'll bring the right knee to meet the left, and let's find our cat-cow again. Then we'll start to find that strong table back. Let's send the left foot back, pressing out through the heel, keeping the belly pulled in, keeping the heart reaching forward. Crown of the head reaches forward as well. Feel free to stay here or start to find that modified side plank. Again, actively pressing up and out through that bottom hand. And maybe you start to float that left foot. And we'll bring the left foot down, square the hips, left hand comes down, and the left knee meets right knee. Let's bring the toes together, knees come apart, and we'll sink the hips back, finding our child's pose. We can call this our creepy child's pose, because any scary show with kids in it, automatically creepy. And here is my formal invitation to each and every one of you to come to this pose as often as you need during your practice today. This is a great pose and a great space to reconnect with your breath, with your intention, all of those good things. And let's inhale, rise up to your table pose. We're going to tuck the toes. Keep the belly pulled in, heart reaches forward, crown of the head reaches forward. A lot of time in table, we get really interested in what our legs are doing, so we decapitate ourselves. We don't need to be the headless table man. That was bad, like headless horseman. Our table needs to still have a head, so keep the crown of the head reaching forward. Now we're going to start to hover the knees off of the earth, coming into a levitating table. Ooh, spooky. Maybe your core firing up is spooky. And slower than you want to, we're going to start to press the hips up and back, coming into down dog. Or it could be downward hellhound, downward werewolf, if you will. And we'll take our downward dog, werewolf, hellhound, and just wiggle it out a little bit. So feel free to rock a little side to side, come up onto the toes. Just creating a little bit of space here. Feel free to stay here, or we're going into werewolf attack mode. So we're going to inhale the right foot off of the earth. Exhale, we're going to bring the knee in toward the chest, shoulders come over wrists, and let's send it back. One more time, pull it in, werewolf attack mode. Send it back. We'll bring the right foot to meet the left, and left foot leaves the earth. Exhale, pull it in. Inhale, sends it back. One more time. Coming forward. Send it back. Left foot meets right. And slower than we want to typically get to the front of the mat, we're just going to slowly meander our way to the front of the mat. Zombie crawl our way. And we'll tuck the chin. And we'll keep a nice juicy bend to the knees. We'll sway a little side to side. Inhale, we'll halfway lift, finding that strong table back. Exhale, let's fold. Let's bend the knees and slowly rise up like a zombie, making sure that we don't lose any bits of our spine as we rise up. And once we come all the way up, let's inhale, reach the hands up to the sky. Exhale, hands come to heart. Inhale, let's reach. Exhale, we'll fold. One more time. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And we'll do that slow zombie roll up again, keeping the chin tucked. We have a zombie in the house, apparently. We'll stack the head last bit on top of the spine. Inhale, let's reach up to the sky again. We're going to find our crescent moon pose. So we're going to find that banana shape again. This time we're standing. The top body is going to reach toward the right. And we'll come back up. And top body over to the left. Come back up. Keeping the belly pulled in, we're going to find vampire pose. We're gonna keep the legs straight, but so you can see my hands, we're gonna bend my knees for this one. So we're going to send the heart up toward the sky, keeping the belly pulled in. We're gonna V out the arms. Then we're going to flip the palms out and then find really sassy hands, like you're a vampire flying. But keeping the belly pulled in, less gymnast in the low back and more yoga. And we'll stack the shoulders over the hips, bring the hands to the heart. And let's find chair pose. So we're going to bend the knees. But this is a zombie chair. So knees are going to be bent, hands are going to be out in front. Feel free to stay here, or we're gonna do a little zombie walk. So we're gonna root through the left foot, bring the right knee up, and then set it on down. Other foot, and set it down. Feel free to call out for brains or grumble. This is an appropriate time to grumble during chair pose because you're a zombie. One more time with the left foot. Then we'll bring the right knee all the way up. Hands reach up to the sky. We'll bring the hands to the heart as we send the foot back, finding our crescent pose. Actively pressing out through that back heel. We're going to reach the hands forward. And left hand sweeps down and back. Down and forward. Right hand sweeps down and back. Down and forward. We'll reach the hands up to the sky again. Hands come to the heart. And we're going to start to find a moment of flight. And we'll bring the right knee up. And let's find our spooky tree. So right foot is going to plant, rest on that standing leg. And we'll start to find our spooky branches. Maybe you're swaying in the breeze under the full moon. Super creepy and spooky. Staying here for another breath. Then we'll bring the right knee up and we'll set it down. And let's find our forward fold. Inhaling to a halfway lift. And again, let's fold. And we'll rise up like a zombie. Inhaling up. And find our crescent moon to the right. Come back to the center and to the left. And back to center. And find our vampire pose. And stack the shoulders over the hips and back to our zombie chair. This time, if you want to travel around your mat while you zombie walk, perfect. You have to travel backwards. I don't think I've ever seen a zombie walk backwards, so kind of impressed. Bridge. One last time, bringing the right knee up. Then we'll bring the left knee up as we root through that right foot. Hands come to the heart. Let's send that left foot back, finding our crescent pose. Again, actively pressing out through that back heel. Hands reach forward. Right hand sweeps down and back, down and forward. Left hand down and back, down and forward. Let's bring the hands to the heart. Start to propel the heart forward. Find a moment of flight. As we bring the knee up, then we start to find our spooky tree on the other side. So you can always kickstand tree. Maybe you have 2 roots, or you can find that balance on 1 foot as you start to find your spooky branches. Creepy. And we'll leave our spooky tree, bring the knee up, and we'll send the foot down. Finding both feet on the ground, we'll reach the hands up to the sky, imagining that you're on that stretching torture device again. And exhale, let's fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, roll fold. Let's zombie rise up. Hands reach up. And we'll crescent moon to the right. Come back to the center and crescent moon to the left. Come back to center and vampire. Pull the belly in, stack the shoulders over the hips. We're going to bring our arms out in front of us. We're going to bend at the elbows, and then we're going to turn the palms away from us. We're going to drop the wrists a little bit, finding cupcake hands, if you had cupcakes below. And then we're going to move the hands with the arms in this fashion to the left, and then to the right. Again to the left, and again to the right. And maybe this time as it goes to the left, you start walking because it's a thriller night. Inhale, let's reach up to the sky. Exhale, let's fold. This is what I live for, to serious teach twerking and thriller. Inhale, let's halfway lift. Exhale, we're going to fold, bend the knees, plant the hands. Let's step back to downward facing dog. From our down dog, let's roll forward to plank, top of a push-up. We'll bring the knees down. We're going to shine the heart forward and start to slowly lower down all the way to the belly. Untuck the toes, plant the tops of the feet into the earth. Then we're going to shrug the shoulders up, back, and down. Finding our little baby cobra. You can be a serpent. And then we'll slowly lower down, making our way back to downward facing dog. And from down dog, if it makes sense in the body, left foot is going to reach up and back. Exhale, let's bring that left knee in toward the chest, and then we'll send it back. One last time, let's bring the knee in, and we're going to step the foot forward. Doesn't have to be graceful. You can help it out a little bit. Let's pull the belly in, shine the heart forward, rising up, finding our crescent pose. Breath is strong. And let's open up to warrior two. We're gonna flip around. But finding our warrior two, let's reverse warrior. And we'll press back, warrior two, and over to side angle. Pressing back, warrior two. And one more time, let's reverse. And back to side angle. We're gonna press back, warrior two. Let's start to straighten that front leg with all sorts of love and intention, really activating that leg. Try not to just pop into the knee, but have intention around it. Arms are coming out. Imagine that left hand is being pulled forward by a ghost, a little ghosty friend. And once you get pulled as far forward as you can, you're gonna bring that left hand onto the leg. Maybe the right hand reaches up to the sky, or maybe the right hand hangs out on the hip. So feeling really broad in your wingspan. Again, try not to just dump into that bottom shoulder, but press up and out. Feel free to stay here, or if you'd like to go to half moon, you can. And if you're like, what's half moon? Don't worry about it. We'll get there another day. But we'll do half moon on this side, half moon on the other side. Equals a whole moon, which is what we're having tonight. And wherever you're at, let's find our way back to warrior two. And we'll reverse warrior one more time. And let's cartwheel the hands down onto the earth. And let's step back to downward facing dog. And from down dog, let's bring the right foot up and back. Exhale, we'll bring the knee in. Inhale, we'll send it back. One more time. Exhale, we'll bring it in. I'm not sure I understand. And this time we'll step the foot forward. This is my haunting, is Siri. She haunts me all the time. Belly pulled in, heart reaches forward, and hands come up. Finding our crescent pose. Feeling really strong and stable in the legs. Now let's open up warrior two. And let's reverse. Pressing back warrior two. And over to side angle. And again, back to warrior two. And reverse. One more time. Moving to side angle. Pressing back warrior two. With all the love and intention, let's start to straighten that front leg. Find your little ghosty friend as it starts to pull you in a very loving, non-violent way. And once you are pulled as far as you can, let's find triangle pose. Left hand can reach up to the sky or can come onto the hip. You can be looking down at your toes, up toward the sky, or at the screen. And then maybe you try half moon. Again, if you're like, what's that? We'll get there. But whichever pose you're in, feel really broad across your wingspan, creating space and breath. And we'll find our way back to warrior two. And let's cartwheel the hands down onto the earth. We're gonna step back, downward facing dog. Does not have to be graceful. And from our down dog, let's roll forward to plank. Knees up or down as you lower down. Hopefully your witch hat doesn't get in the way. Oh, stay up. And from here, we'll bring our foreheads down onto the mat. And we're going to reach the hands back alongside the body, but fingertips are reaching toward the back of the mat. We're gonna start to shrug the shoulders up, back, up and back, and the hands are going to leave the earth. With your next exhale, bring the forehead off of the earth. And maybe the legs start to fly. So like a little hovering ghost. Ooh, spooky. Staying here for another breath, maybe another giggle. And we'll bring just the legs down. And we're going to sneak the hands right beside our ribs, finding our little baby cobra pose. And we'll come on down and we'll press back, finding our way to downward facing dog. And from down dog, let's bend the knees. Let's look in between the hands. And we'll take our zombie stroll to the top of the mat. And from our zombie stroll, we're going to inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let's fold. Inhale, we'll rise up and reach up. And hands come to the heart. We're going to just take a moment here with the base of the thumbs plugged into the heart to reconnect with our breath. It's more like I know you guys need to catch your breath because you're laughing so hard at all of my good jokes. I'm just giving you a minute. It's fine. And let's blink the eyes open. And if you have either your witch's broom or your witch's hat handy, you might want to don that. Because we're going on a broom ride. So let's find our broom pose, chair pose, but with the hands like this, because you're riding a broom now. And you get to choose how high or how low you're flying, really. So you can be higher up, or you can bring a deeper bend to the knees. But as we fly up, we're gonna hit some turbulence. So we're gonna have to come up onto the knee, up onto the toes, and then lower down. One breath to lift, one breath to lower. One more time. And let's reach the hands up toward the sky. You want to take your witch's hat off because we're going to exhale, forward fold. We're going to hang out here for a couple breaths in our forward fold. And if it feels okay, maybe you tuck the chin, maybe you hold on to opposite elbows, coming into hanging bat. So you're hugging your cute little bat wings in as you hang upside down. And we'll release our bat wings. And we'll inhale, halfway lift again. Exhale, fold, bend the knees, plant the hands. We're going to step that left foot way back. Belly pulls in, heart reaches forward. And let's rise up, finding our crescent pose. If you love arms nice and long, feel free to keep the arms nice and long. Or we're going to find our thriller hands. And we're going to send the heart forward as we send our thriller hands back. And come back up. And follow your breath. And yes, you can do this with the arms nice and long as well. But how often do you get to use thriller hands in yoga? And one more breath, flowing through this. We'll reach the arms up toward the sky. We'll straighten that front leg. So if you really loved that, feel free to continue flowing through that. Or we're going to bend into that front knee. Hands are going to come to the heart. Heart's going to reach forward. We're going to find a moment of flight. So our little ghost or your favorite flying creature. Then we're going to come into Frankenstein. So we're going to swing that leg forward. Hands come up or forward. And we're just going to flow through that from flying to Frankenstein. Staying here for another breath, moving through this for another breath. And let's bring that leg back, toes on the earth, finding your crescent pose. Exhale, hands come down onto the earth. Does not have to be graceful. Let's step our way back. Downward facing dog. You have the option for the vinyasa, for child's pose, for your Halloween cat and cow. Anything you need at this moment. And we'll meet back in downward facing dog. And from our down dog, let's make our way to the top of the mat. Inhaling to find our halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Let's rise up and reach up. Hands to the heart. And one more time, going on our witchy little ride. So again, don all of your witch things. And let's go on a ride. And maybe you find that turbulence again. Maybe you don't love that. Maybe you play with riding side saddle. So you do a little twist to bring the broom handle to your side. It's your ride, your choice. But we'll stay moving through this for a couple more breaths. And see if you can sink a little further down onto your broom. And let's forward fold. Inhaling to a halfway lift. Exhale, fold, bend the knees, plant the hands, stepping that right foot way back. Staying up on those back toes. Belly pulls in, heart reaches forward. Rising up to your crescent pose. Thriller arms or not, your choice as you flow through this. But even if you're moving with the thriller arms, that can sometimes feel a little constricted and bunchy because we're used to long sweeping arms. So see if you can keep that same amount of openness across the heart and the collarbones as you thriller arm. God, I love Halloween. And flowing through this one more time. We'll reach the hands up to the sky. Let's straighten that front leg. So again, you have that option to continue flowing forward and back, or you can find a little bit of flight. Hands come to the heart. Oop. We're going to find flight, and then we'll find Frankenstein. One more time, flowing through this. We're going to find our way back to crescent pose. Inhale the hands up and exhale the hands down. Stepping back again through that vinyasa, if that's what you want. But knowing that these are moments that you get to choose what you want to do and what feels good for you. And from our down dog, let's make our way to the top of the mat. Finding our forward fold. Inhaling to a halfway lift. Exhale, let's fold. Inhale, we'll rise up and reach up. And hands come to the heart. So, just one more round of standing postures. Then we'll start to chill out, get ready for corpse pose. But with this one, it might be new. Never taught it in a yoga class before, but this is what Halloween is for. So we're gonna start by either stepping or jumping to the left. And then we're going to do a couple steps to the right. And we'll bring the right foot down. We're gonna bring our hands on our hips and we'll bring our knees in tight. And it's a pelvic thrust that really drives you insane. We're gonna do the time warp again. So yeah, I've never taught the time warp before in class, but Halloween is what it's for. And if you don't know what the time warp is, highly recommend Rocky Horror Picture Show to all the humans. So let's inhale, reach up to the sky, and exhale, we're gonna fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let's fold. Inhale, we'll rise up and reach up. And hands to the heart. Inhale, we'll reach. And we're gonna find our crescent moon to the right. And our crescent moon to the left. Come back to the center. And one last vampire pose. Use the core to stack the shoulders over the hips. And let's fold. So you have one last chance for a vinyasa. If you're all vinyasa'd out, or if you want to actually do the time warp one more time instead of vinyasa, we're gonna meet in table pose. So take the next couple breaths to get there. No rush. Now's the perfect time to grab some of your witch's brew, whether that's coffee, tea, water, beer. It's Halloween. It's not too early for that. And from our table pose, let's start to walk the hands back toward the knees. We're gonna come to standing on our knees. If this is a lot on the knees, you can always come sit on the heels. Let's inhale the hands up to the sky and exhale to the heart. Sorry, I think I'm choking one of my hairs. They're just everywhere. We're gonna bring the hands to the backside of the body as if you have like those great high-waisted pants on and the pockets are right up here. Keeping the legs nice and active, they're gonna be your great foundation. We're gonna start to send the heart up toward the sky. We're gonna pull the elbows toward each other. Keep the belly pulled in, and maybe you start to find a little bit of a back bend here. This is traditionally called camel pose, but for today's sake, it's called howling at the moon. We're finding our last little bit of werewolf. And maybe you start to move the hands down the legs a little bit, but making sure that you're keeping the core engaged and you're not just dumping into the low back. We'll start to walk the hands up, pull the belly in to stack the shoulders, and we'll bring the hands down, coming to table. And we'll just do a very slight cat-cow. So nothing too crazy, just a little bit of movement. And then maybe you can start getting a little deeper into that cat-cow. Then we'll swing the legs toward the side. We're gonna roll over the legs. Coming to our backside. We'll keep the knees bent, arms reach out. We're going to reverse Michael Myers. So instead of coming up from the dead, we're just going to start to head towards corpse pose. Slowly lowering down. And then we'll stretch the body nice and long. And we'll bring the knees in toward the chest. Holding on to shins, knees, or the backs of the thighs. And we'll rock a little side to side. And we'll bring our arms either out to a T, or you can cactus arms. We're going to drop the knees over to the right. Or if you really loved those vampire V arms and it makes sense in your body while you're in this twist to do that, you can always do that. We'll come back to the center and over to the other side. Keeping the breath nice and intentional. At this point, especially on Saturday morning classes, I know I'm guilty of it. The antsy feeling starts to come back of like, oh, I have so much to do. I'll turn off the yoga and continue on with my day. But I'm going to challenge you to not sell yourself short and to keep with the practice all the way till the end, because the end is really like the good, juicy part. That's why we move our bodies so much. So that way, when we come to that final pose, we can just chill out. And it's so delightful. And we'll bring the knees back to the center. And we'll find our dead bug pose again. Finding our last little twitches before we come to our final pose. So maybe you're rolling the wrists and the ankles out again. Maybe you're finding that opposite lift and lower one more time. So you feel really broad and open across the body. Or maybe the body is needing something completely different. And so you can move through those shapes. But as you feel ready, limb by limb, we'll come into our final resting pose. Shavasana, aka corpse pose. And allow yourself to really start to settle in here. And before you start to float away to that beautiful Shavasana land, can you just take a moment to do a quick check-in scan of the body, noticing that subtle energy and space that you've created. Check in with the breath and see that maybe it's moving a little more freely. and a little more fully. And check in with the mind. Hopefully, the silliness and the taking ourselves less serious has done the mind some good. And that the mind feels a little more open, a little more free, and a little more silly. Know that all of these good feelings, all of this energy, you created that. We're all little witches and warlocks when it comes to yoga. But we have the right things to put together. And then magically, at the end, we, more times than not, feel really great at the end because of that yoga magic. And we'll start to deepen the breath, breathing life back into the body. Taking the time to touch each of the fingertips with the thumb. And start to wiggle the toes. And slowly move the head side to side. And start to roll over to your favorite side, unless you want to Michael Myers it and just come straight up. But if you're coming over to a side, just take a moment to cradle the head within the arm, to feel really supported. And slowly start to make your way up, coming into a comfortable seat. And we'll bring the hands to the heart. Thank you for sharing your practice, energy, spirit, and silliness with me this morning. The light within me honors the light within each and every one of you. Namaste. And cheers. Thank you guys so much for making my Halloween dreams come true. I'm just imagining that right now you guys are like, oh, it's so great. And I love Halloween too. So I'm just going to let that simmer. But also, you should show us how much you love Halloween and practicing spooky things. We are doing a raffle giveaway. So if you post onto Instagram or Facebook. Your Halloween practice could be a photo, it could be a video, it could be, I don't know, stop motion film. But you tag us in it, then you're entered to win one of our new Yoga and Beer hoodies, your choice of size. They come out in mid-November, so you'll be one of the first people to get them. So magical. But yes, thank you guys so much for joining me today. Be on the lookout for all of our upcoming classes. I'll be practicing with you on Monday here again, so I'm super excited for that. And thank you everyone for all the love. You guys are so great. And let's see, have a beautiful and safe Halloween. Choose safety. If you're a virgin, please stay away from black flame candles because it is a full moon tonight. We don't need the Sanderson sisters coming back. But with those departing words, I love you all and have such a beautiful day. Thank you.